Right. Well, hey, I'll say it again. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to India. How many first-timers have we got here? Well, a big welcome to you, and a second big welcome to all of those returning to India. So you're in for an absolutely fantastic week. This is the 10th edition of the YCO, so a historic event for the YCO and the family and the community that is gathered here. So let's get the show on the road. Let's open up. My name is Neil Rippington. I'm the International Director here at IHM. I'm based in the UK, and I'll be working with the judges and the contestants, and I'll be visiting various campuses over the next week. And I want you to have the most memorable, terrific experience possible. And by the end of the week, I was just saying outside that although it may feel a little bit formal and you're a little bit reserved, by the end of the week, you'll all be dancing and hugging and singing and celebrating together. Mark my words, it's going to happen. So, let's go. First of all, I'm going to invite Dr. Bose to the stage. Dr. Bose, a first-generation entrepreneur and global thought leader in hospitality, is the founder of the IndySmart Group and the International Institute of Hotel Management, IIHM. He heads theme-driven hotels and iconic restaurants in Kolkata, Goa, and Bangalore, alongside initiating the world's largest culinary competition for student chefs, the IIHM International Young Chef Olympiad. Dr. Bose is an award-winning author and speaker, has received prestigious accolades, including the Economic Times Most Promising Business Leader of Asia Award and the Times Men of the Year Award for his contributions to sustainable hospitality. Dr. Bose's initiative was to raise this competition. I'm sure he's going to let you know just how it originated back in London some years ago. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Bose, the founder of the YCO, to the stage to open with his address. Thank you.
Namaskar, and a very good afternoon to all of the audience who have gathered here, assembled here for the pre-opening ceremony annual global conference, which we started last year in this very same venue. So the conference will be anchored by none other than Professor Neil Rippington, and will focus on sustainability and youth diplomacy. And after this conference of 2 hours, we will be kind of proceeding for the formal opening ceremony of the most historic, most iconic, and the most sought after 10th edition, 10th anniversary of the IIHM Young Chef Olympiad 2024. This conference is very important because it sets the tone for the next 7 days, because sustainability has always been the core of the Young Chef Olympiad's values, and we have always practiced and preached, led by none other than our guru, my personal mentor, Professor David Foskett. So we are so happy to have Professor Foskett here with us, and this conference will be very important in terms of giving the knowledge, setting the tone, as I said, and also there are some amazing speakers who will be talking about sustainability, technology, and on AI, because AI is also as important today in today's hospitality world, and we at India are actually embracing AI in a very, very big way. So ladies and gentlemen, to all the young chefs from all over the world, 60 countries, the biggest ever numbers we ever had in the last 10 years. Is such an exciting time for all of us, and we have got a lot to come in the next 4 hours, so enjoy. And to all my friends, all my mentors, and of course the jury, the grand jury from all over the world, thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for your time, and thanks to audience for being with us in this lovely, lovely afternoon. A great weather today in Delhi, possibly heralding the 10th edition of the IHM Young Chef Olympiad. So let's enjoy this pre-opening ceremony global conference on sustainability, and after that we will have the formal opening ceremony starting from 4:45. So thank you very much for being with us, and let's enjoy the next 2 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bose. Could I now please welcome Professor David Foskett to the stage for his keynote address. Could I introduce Professor Foskett? He is a world-renowned culinary teacher and author of several iconic textbooks, including Practical Cookery and Theory of Hospitality and Catering. He is a member of the management committees of the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts, the Craft Guild of Chefs, and the Institute of Hospitality. He was recently awarded the Order of the British Empire, an OBE, for his services to hospitality education. Many congratulations. We're all very proud of your achievements and contributions. Professor Foskett is also the chairman of the YCO Grand Jury. Please welcome Professor Foskett.
Well, hello everyone. Hope you're enjoying yourself so far, yes? Great. Well, 10 years ago, Dr. Bose had a dream. The dream was to bring the world together through culinary arts. And when he came to me, I said, oh, that's going to take 18 months to plan. He said, we've only got 3 months. I said, can you do it in 3 months? He said, no problem. And he did it. And from then it's grown and grown. Not just as a competition, but a gathering of young people for friendship, for harmony, but the most important thing about learning. We learn from one another. We learn about different cultures. We learn how to respect people for understanding of different cultures. And what the YCO has become also is a platform for learning of what the issues are today. To live is to learn. To live is to change. But to change often is to grow. And we grow our knowledge, often through change. And much of the world today is changing. And we have to learn to change with it. And we learn from one another. Everyone in this room is a learner. Everyone in this room is a teacher. And we can learn a lot from young people, particularly in the digital world that we live in. If I want to sort an IT problem out, I go to my children, but they're not children anymore, but they're a lot younger than me, because I am a digital immigrant. They are digital natives They understand technology. They grow up with technology. And the world of education has a great deal of technology, an offering of technology. But we mustn't forget that our industry, the hospitality industry, is about human contact. It's about understanding the customer, understanding people, delivering the customer experience. We are not robots. We never will be robots. Robots cannot take over the emotion, the understanding of people, the psychology, the sociology of understanding culinary, understanding hospitality, so that we can deliver the product that the next generation wants from us. So the next 2 hours is a learning exercise. The big issues of the day: artificial intelligence, sustainability, understanding how organizational culture has to change within our organizations to cope with the new world. And the new world belongs to the young people, because the young people are the future. They are the future of our planet, and they're very conscious of how things should develop to save the planet. That's why sustainability is so much on their minds. So we're going to learn from one another. As Socrates said, Socrates, the great philosopher, I use this all the time. Socrates said, "I know nothing compared to what there is to know in the world." So in this room today, look at the wealth of knowledge. Look at the wealth of knowledge of the 60 countries here. Look at the wealth of knowledge that the judges have, that the officials have. We're in a very privileged environment this afternoon with all this knowledge around us. So let's learn from one another and enjoy your experience in incredible India. Thank you.
Thank you for Professor Foskett for those words, and we'll remember Socrates and the message, and the very important message that you supplied us there. Thank you. So we now have a video slot from Maclean Food Service, which, if we could play, please. Thank you. So we have a number of sponsors that have very kindly provided funds to support the YCO. So Maclean Food Service, thank you very much for your support. We have a couple more videos to share with you now. The next one is from Monin PVT Limited and Goldie Masali video. So if we could play that, please. Followed by AP Tourism. Thank you.
Sometimes I look back over all this and I see our heritage, the exquisite flavors we have captured, more than 150, imagining all the possibilities. Think, innovate, create, perfect, make, and we share it with the world. That's our old family recipe there, being shipped off. My grandfather and my father have been doing this for more than 100 years, together with our people, our trusted partners, at our training studios, in production, in Europe, the Americas, China, Brazil, Malaysia, listening to our partners and friends, creating tailor-made solutions with respect for everyday drinks. You know, it's what we do. Find the perfect flavor, dream up solutions, and we do it simply with passion. We love to inspire with smooth, fragrant flavors. In the world's cafe, bars, restaurants, kitchen, the art of drinks is giving pleasure and enjoyment. Yes, we are creative. And today we are flying high. But now, when I look back over all this, what I see is this, a passion for innovation. I can say we became the world's gourmet flavor leader, trusted by beverage professionals, with a vision for our future. Creative, innovative, passionate, expert, agile. Creators of pleasure giving, indulgent experiences, magic moments. Something real. That's money, that's us.
भूख लगी हो होले होले और बन जाए चटाकेदार छोले भोले बच्चे बोले दिल मांगे छोले गोल्डी छोले हो गोल्डी छोले मसाले बल्ले बल्ले गोल्डी छोले मसाले बल्ले बल्ले गोल्डी छोले मसाले पेट में चूहे रेस लगा के बोले टेस्टी हो गई है बल्ले बल्ले अगर छोले बोले तो गोल्डी छोले मसाले जहाँ जाए रिश्ते बनाए जहाँ जाए रिश्ते बनाए गोल्डी मसाले स्वाद नहीं मिलता है बहाने भाई करता है कितना बहाना भरा हुआ टिफिन वापस घर आता है गोल्डी हिंग का तड़का लगे खाने का स्वाद हिलने लगे गोल्डी हिंग का तड़का लगे खाने का स्वाद हिलने लगे उसी चावल को गोल्डी मसाले के साथ बनाया है गोल्डी हिंग का तड़का लगे खाने का स्वाद हिलने लगे गोल्डी हिंग का तड़का लगे तो सभी दबा के खाते हैं गोल्डी हिंग कण कण में जान कण कण में जान गोल्डी हिंग
So thanks again to our kind sponsors. I don't know about you, but I feel like getting out there and exploring after seeing that. I wouldn't mind a swim after hearing that water. It's quite warm up here. Another day, another day. So thanks again to our sponsors, McCain Foods, Monan, Goldie Masale, and AP Tourism. Thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause. Thank you. So I'm now going to welcome to the stage Narendra Gautam, who is the National Sales Head from Ariane Porcelain. We have a short video to play as well, but Narendra, could I please welcome you to the stage? Round of applause for Narendra, please. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I, Narendra Gautam, on behalf of Ariane Porcelain, welcomes all the delegates from different parts of the world here. I am excited to share here a bit experience of my journey with all hospitality industries and all culinary chefs. I would like to tell you that before starting my journey, or even all through my journey, I spend a lot of time with the chefs to understand their requirement, what they want, and what we can do for them. Actually, our company is not very old. We are only 8 years old, and you can feel in the history of Indian ceramic, we are the first and only manufacturer of porcelain tableware in India. So it was a great moment for us. And currently, nowadays, we have captured 80% of the hospitality market of India, and we are exporting around 52 countries all over the world. So this is a brief history of my company, and actually, I always believe in the magic which happens in the kitchen, and you all the master of kitchen. There is nothing, food is cooked in all the kitchens. But how do you differentiate actually yourself? This is just because of your innovation and presentation. Innovation you are doing day by day, and the presentation, we are helping you in that kind of presentation of food. So I would like to thank all the chefs, all the hospitality industries, people to give us this kind of love, affection, and work experience for our company. So finally, in conclusion, whether you are plating a masterpiece for a table of 2 or a banquet for many, Ariane Fine Porcelain is here to be your trusted companion. Actually, we are supplying all the stuff, whether you are taking for fine dine restaurant, you are taking for a banquet, all these we are supplying to add value addition to your food. And here, I am here to help you, whatever you want. I am here, learn from you, and together let's create some extraordinary experience in hospitality industries. Thank you.
Play the video, please.
Ariane Fine Porcelain is an exquisite and elegant porcelain tableware brand created with professional experience, unprecedented technical know-how, and attention to finesse, encompassing creativity, functionality, durability, and timelessness. Ariane has launched a new manufacturing facility spread over an area of 60,000 square meters with a workforce of over 500 skilled professionals. This eminent and modern state-of-the-art manufacturing unit is equipped with world-acclaimed Italian and German machinery, having a production capacity of 15 million pieces per annum of exceptional, exquisite, and superior quality porcelain dinnerware.
You will now embark on a beautiful journey to witness the manufacturing of our exquisitely designed products. To begin with, the imported raw materials are segregated into batches, after which they are fed into a ball mill with the assistance of a conveyor belt. An appropriate proportion of water is integrated with these raw materials to create an amalgamation. This mixture is then transferred into a storage tank with the help of vibrating sieves, where it is magnetized at regular intervals. From the storage tank, the mixture is conveyed in a spray dryer to granulate it into a powdery form. Let's have a look at how plates are manufactured from the ready raw materials kept in these bags. Here is the world's most latest and automatic isostatic press, which produces more than 20,000 pieces per day. Apart from machine-made crockery, some products like teapots and creamers require special manual molding. The raw material mixture from the storage tank is manually filled into molds by our skilled experts to create structures like kettles, teapots, etc. We have also a separate department assigned exclusively for the designing and manufacturing of these molds. Here is another state-of-the-art machinery used to manufacture tableware such as cups, mugs, and similar varieties. The blend of raw materials created by the jiggering process is used by this machine to create the body of cups and mugs, with handles being fitted later manually. All our products are first sent in a kiln to be baked at a very high temperature. This high temperature firing, the plates are sent to a glazing machine, where a glaze layer is deposited on its outer surface. Post this, the plates are once more fired at an even higher temperature of above 1,250 degrees, a procedure known as glossed firing. We also have each piece passing through a quality check process to make sure we deliver only the best and nothing but the best to our customers. After this entire routine, the finished plates are stored in the warehouse to be disseminated to various countries for purchase by fine hospitality establishments. Ariane Fine Porcelain offers a flexible approach to customized decorations and product lines with personalized decor, shapes, patterns, decor variations, and custom-made logos to its customers in order to meet all their diverse and distinctive requirements. Our colors coalesce with glaze and sheen to create textures that lose none of their brilliant luster. Ariane Fine Porcelain is extremely resistant to shocks. It is highly abrasion-proof, has high chip resistant, and is even microwave and dishwasher safe. Ariane Fine Porcelain successfully meets the stringent standards such as the physical test from SFC France, International Certifying Agency for SA 8000 standards. Has also been approved by the Vegetarian Society of the UK. It does not contain any bone ash and is certified of being halal. Our easy reach distribution strategy comprises of strategic tie-ups with leading hotel suppliers and industry players worldwide. Ariane Fine Porcelain.
So you got a few rules there. So thank you, Ariane, for your kind sponsorship and support for YCO, and to Narendra for addressing us today. So, first panel. So I'm going to invite a friend of mine to enter the stage. I've known this person for a number of years. This is Chef John Wood. So, John, if I could welcome you to the stage, please. I'll just give you a little bit of background about John. John is an internationally renowned Michelin-starred executive chef with almost 4 decades of industry experience. John's impressive career includes achieving a Michelin star, 4 AA rosettes, and working in some of the world's leading hotels and restaurants, including the Burj Al Arab in Dubai and the Savoy Hotel in London. John is currently the director of Kitchen Cut, a leading-edge provider of back-of-house software solutions across the hospitality industry. And you'll all know Kitchen Cut, competitors, because you've used it to get your recipe information together for this competition. So welcome to John. So do we have some microphones for John and I? Or? we'll test the. So just by way of what we're about to talk about, as Professor Foskett said, we're going to look at the role of AI in the hospitality skills industry for the future. And we thought of John because of his technological knowledge and the work he does with Kitchen Cut. So we're just going to have a chat, John, if that's all right, about your views on AI and how it might affect these people going forward in their careers. So John, we've got about 10 minutes or so, just under 10 minutes to discuss this feature. Obviously, AI, artificial intelligence, we're hearing about it all the time in the news. There's very good sort of press. There's some worried people out there that think we might be taken over. As Professor Foskett mentioned, you know, we are in a people-based industry, which is very, very important, that interaction from one person to the other. What are your views on how AI might affect these guys going forward into their careers within the hospitality industry? What do you think your vision is of the future? What is your vision for the future?
Thank you. Firstly, I don't think we should be afraid of it. A lot of people are worried about robots taking over our jobs in kitchens and front of house. That's not the case, and I think we need to embrace technology and AI, and the customers will dictate whether they want to be served by people or to be robotic serving as part of that process. And some of you may have seen some of the robots that deliver your room service to your rooms and as part of that. And it's just about, you know, we need to think more about how you need to, if you don't embrace it, you'll get left behind. In the hospitality sector, you've got to embrace technology. And this is something that's, you know, really important, both front of house, from a room's point of view, from kitchen's point of view. And there's many things that can really sort of branch out and really sort of help you and support you as a business as part of that, and enhance your customer experience as well.
Thanks, John. So let's break it down. In the restaurant, I imagine there might be a time and a place where it might be quite convenient, even funny, to be served by a robotic machine. But then again, maybe in other circumstances, that might not be so desirable. What are your views on how a business should approach that sort of service?
I think, you know, in restaurants there's an element of novelty. I was in a restaurant in Vienna, and I got served by this roller coaster, was the name of the restaurant, and you placed your order, and your order got delivered on a roller coaster in front of you at the table, and you accepted your order. It was quite entertaining. The service staff were quite miserable, probably that's the reason why, but it was quite entertaining to see that. But I think in restaurants there is going to be some technology. I think more in hotels, I think where you're looking at enhancing customer experience, translations as part of that, and making, you know, multiple international guests, you know, and be able to translate to them easily. I think about customer understanding customer preferences, and be able to, AI can then recommend suitable things that a customer would like if they like something. I think that could be used quite well. I think there is definitely going to be a demand for that customer to have a personal experience. So I don't think that's going to go away. I just think AI is going to enhance that a little bit more. And then, you know, really from a kitchen point of view, a lot of AI is happening around cooking techniques and processes. There's AI in waste, where you put things into a bin and it reads what you've just put into the bin and starts to track and record your waste, which anything that tracks and records and reduces food waste is a good thing. And be able to manage and monitor that. But there's other AI within sort of cooking as part of that process that can do some levels of automation. I think there will always be a need for chefs. There will always be a need for service people, and there would always be a need for a personal touch. But there is a need to automate, assist, and support the hospitality industry, and we should not be scared of it. We should embrace it as part of that whole process.
Thanks, John. Just something you touched upon there. I hope everybody saw the interview, the welcome interview with our competitor from Italy yesterday. Did you all see that? No. I know some people did because they showed it to me. But basically, the Italian competitor was interviewed by one of the IHM students using Google Conversations. So the student spoke into the phone, basically asking a series of questions, and the phone picked up the question and translated it perfectly into Italian. The Italian was read out through the phone, and then the competitor answered the question back in Italian, and it read it out into English. And that's, I guess, a free piece of software that Google supply. But okay, if we take it out of the restaurant, how do you think things like room service, how could AI be used in accommodation services, do you think?
I think in accommodation is probably where it's going to be most useful, in rooms, and be able to pick up and place orders within your rooms through AI as part of that, and electronic door tagging, and be able to sort of understand what the guests are as part of that process. That's been going on for a while as you sort of build that out. And there's also guest preferences. We're in the hospitality industry, and what we need to do is exceed guest expectations, and be able to do that. Sometimes AI can support that, and it can look at guest preferences and make recommendations for other things that they may be interested in, and that can work in room service, in rooms, as part of that process, and you understand a pattern of what the customer orders, and you can make recommendations through that, through the television or through AI. So I think it's all about the enhancement of customer experience and not a detriment of that. And there's going to be, there's business travelers that want to come in and they want to get in. I want to be served. I've got loads of business to do. I don't really want to speak to anybody. I need a club sandwich and a Diet Coke, and I need it now, and be able to do that. And if it's served by a robot, doesn't matter, because I've got to need to get on with that. But if you want that personal level of service, you can have that as well. So you've got to keep both, because people still like to speak to people, which is great. But I think there's some great enhancements, particularly in rooms division and room service and all those areas as well. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So my last question: the hospitality area is a business. We need to make some money. It's you've got to be financially viable to survive. And I guess AI might be a really valuable tool in terms of monitoring costs and even monitoring weather and other things that might affect costs. How do you think that might impact even your own business, looking at kitchen cut and kitchen management and projecting forecasts and that type of thing?
Yeah, that's a really, we're just looking at, with our technology, looking at using AI to support that. And it's about then looking at giving you recommendations of what you need to do and what you need to sell and what you need to encourage on those sales as part of that process. So it's not just about, I'm going to write a menu, I'm going to cost that menu, I'm going to serve that menu. What it's then doing is actually saying which dishes should you encourage more sales on through automated menu engineering. And that makes it really quite interesting when you actually, from a business point of view, is where I've done this manually in the past, is you can go into businesses and change nothing, but just move things around into menu psychology, sell the dishes you want to sell more of, and part of that, you just make more profit. And when you apply AI to that, it automates that entire process, so you don't have to do that manual process, and it just makes you more profitable doing the same as what you're doing at the moment, and just makes you sharper as an individual business. And making more money is really important at the moment, and driving that profit to the bottom line. It's great that we're cooking great food, but if you can't make money as a chef, you're a cook, in my mind. So you've got to understand the business levels of running a business, and that is about making a profitable business, and AI can definitely support you doing that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, John, for your contribution. Thank you to John Wood, Chef John Wood. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Neil and Chef John Wood. May I please request you both to please stay back on the stage, and would now request Dr. Bose to please come over on the stage, and request you to please felicitate Professor Neil and John Wood. Can we have a round of applause for Professor Neil and Chef John Wood, please? Thank you so much, Dr. Bose and Chef John Wood. And over to you, Professor Neil.
Okay, so thank you, John, again. So we're about to play another couple of videos. So the first one is from Viva, and the second is from Nando's. So again, thank you very much for your kind support of Young Chef Olympiad. Could we play the VT, please?
My mom's name is Vibha, and I get a lot of my work ethic and from her, so it was an ode to her. So Vibha became Viva.
Most wonderful stories start with a dream, and every big dream has a small beginning.
Why can't Tasty be healthier than what is available?
A beginning as small as how?
How can we make food tastier? How can we eat healthier? How can we make making food simpler? How can we make tastier food more creative? How do we bring global cuisine to India?
Second panel. So the second panel is going to be looking at the role that employers need to play in hospitality education. So could I please welcome to the stage Rajan Bahadur, the CEO of the Tourism and Hospitality Skills Council of India. Thank you. Could I also invite Chef Gary Maclean and Chef Sarah Hartnett. And just by way of an introduction, whilst they're getting their seats, could I introduce Rajan? Rajan is a seasoned professional in the hospitality, financial services and travel sectors. His expertise lies in building high-performing teams, setting up greenfield projects and fostering relationships with global trends and government bodies. Having worked with esteemed organisations like Care India, Starwood Hotels and American Express, Rajan excels in general management, business development, sales and marketing, finance and strategic planning. Welcome, Rajan. Chef Gary Maclean. Gary is a Scottish chef, the author of multiple books and a regular face on British television. In 2016, Gary became the winner of the 9th season of MasterChef The Professionals and later the first national chef of Scotland. Gary is currently the executive chef at the City of Glasgow College, alongside running his sustainable seafood restaurant, Creole Court, and Scottish Deli Soup and Caboodle in Edinburgh. Welcome, Gary. Whee!
Thank you.
Thank you. And Chef Sarah Hartnett. Sarah is a passionate pastry chef and the proud founder of Hartnett's Artisan Chocolate. Sarah crafts premium, sustainable Belgian chocolates available online and complemented by engaging workshops and personalised corporate gifting. Sarah's extensive experience in consultation spans diverse markets, collaborating with industry leaders like Barry Callebaut, and she is a strong advocate of education. Sarah is currently executive pastry chef for Smart Group. So welcome, Sarah, welcome to you all, and over to you. This session is going to be moderated by you, Rajan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon all. I think it's great to be here, great to have all of you here, and great to have both the chefs here. So, about couple of decades ago, when I moved from banking and financial services into hospitality, I raised quite a lot of eyebrows. Some people were direct, some people spoke behind my back and said, "Whoa, you're going to become a cook from a banker." And things have changed, and I must confess that today the outlook towards hospitality globally has changed a lot. I think COVID was another watershed in the lives of the hospitality industry, from doing exceedingly well to a complete lockdown, the first to get impacted, the last to sort of recover. So a couple of learnings there, and in every sort of disruption there are opportunities. Couple of learnings there, the goalpost kept changing and continues to change. The old saying of survival of the fittest went out of the window. It's survival of the quickest. And I think what better opportunity than to talk about the role of the employers they need to play in the hospitality. You know, constantly we are changing qualifications, we are changing job roles, we are changing the way we do things. I guess similar is the experience of the ask from the employers. So my question to you first and then to you is, what do the employers need to be doing in the hospitality or the field of education going forward?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question, and I think a lot of us are always trying to find the answer because there's never a definitive answer. I think as employers we need to look at the people that are coming into our industry, and we need to go looking for them as well. We need to get into primary schools, we need to get to younger people earlier, and we need to teach them why this is such a great industry to be part of. If you show this to quite a few people, I imagine everyone's families are delighted they're here representing their countries in such a wonderful competition. You can't do this if you're in an office job, and no disrespect to an office job, but we have so many opportunities in this industry that you would never have in a normal job. So while it might not always be a normal route for somebody to employment, I think it's really, it's important to show people what they can do. I think in terms of our responsibility in education, I think we need to educate the workforce that we have now, and we need to give them better values in what they're doing, and a sense of achievement, a sense of importance in their job role, and a sense of motivation and why they come to work. And I think if we can train the people that we now have and look towards the younger generations and setting up competitions, going into schools and doing training and making it interesting, making it fun, not just a job, I think it would create a better future all around.
Yeah, that's really good, because huge opportunities and huge demand. And what can we do to capitalize on this?
I think the role of the employer in terms of education is actually to connect and understand the importance of young people getting qualified. What you'll find is it depends on the environment, but a lot of industry is just focused on industry and they're desperate for staff, but they tend not to work too well with education. And we keep talking about people, we keep talking about people development, but part of that process is surely to educate and get our workforce qualified. And the workplace is a completely different world to what I started in, 35 years ago. The importance of having qualifications and being able to sort of show an employer that you're dedicated to your craft and you've had some really good foundations going to a good school. And the other side of the coin is as well, we're in a world market. Regardless of where you train, you're in a world market where you could be working, one day in London, the next day Paris, and the next day in Delhi. So if you're qualified, you're capable of making that move. But it's making sure that employers fully understand the role of education. But if you flip that on its head as well, it's important that education can adapt and change to the demands of the hospitality industry as well. And if all of that comes together, it's a much easier pathway for getting young people educated.
Yeah, I think that's very well put, because I think we are all sort of saying the same thing in terms of the fact that there are huge opportunities. There are how we sort of lay down the career path, how we explain to people, make jobs far more aspirational. I think one of the things that we tend to forget very often is the fact that with every change, whether it's the employers do change and the expectations are growing, but the academia itself is changing, themselves are changing. I mean, can you understand situations where from an online to an offline process, it needed a lot of learning, at least people of my generation, right? Because the newer generation, the DNA is pretty much there. But you know, in terms of the employer, going back to the employer again, I mean, things like apprenticeship program, things like I head the Tourism and Hospitality Skill Council. Post-COVID, we have had to revise all our qualifications and actually collapse some of them into, merge them into others. Some new ones have come up and some brilliant opportunities. I think Chef John spoke about the fact of artificial intelligence just before this and how that's bringing. And I completely agree that, you know, human touch will always be there. So from again, back to the employer point of view, couple of things if you may want to list down specifically for the youth or the young entrepreneurs or the young chefs, what could those be? Would you like to sort of take a guess on that?
Advice for young entrepreneurs. Again, I've been lucky enough to come to Young Chef Olympiad for many, many years, and what I always find when you're speaking to young chefs that are here representing their countries, they all have a real ambition to be out on their own and setting up their own businesses. And there's no, you know, there's no right way and wrong way. What I would say is to have good training, you know, working with good people and having good mentors, so that when you eventually get your own businesses, that you've got a network behind you that can offer support, because every single day is completely different. You know, I've got two restaurants in Edinburgh, and prior to that, I'd opened up over 100 restaurants for other people. Doing it for yourself was completely different. You know, and I've never lost so much sleep in my life opening your own. So, but if you've got a good idea, a good plan, and you're willing to work hard, it should do well. But remember, you know, engage with education so that you can get a good supply of strong staff.
Great. How about you, Chef?
Very similarly, I think also what you can learn from older people who've already been around the block. Ask them what their mistakes are. Gary will tell you for sure, and I have with things I've done. People will always tell you what's gone well, but when you're very honest about what you want to do, people will tell you the mistakes and learn from other people's mistakes. You know, what was a difficult challenge? What was harder than you expected? If you had any advice, what would it be? And to really listen to people when they're trying to help, because most people imparting advice want to help. So I would say learn from a lot of other people, really, what were their mistakes, and try not to repeat them, you know, and you know, keep the links with people from colleges, keep the links from the lecturers in college that you've learned from your first employer, from the people who've set you on the right path, who want you to succeed. You know, they're all in your corner, they want you to do well, and they're there when you've got questions, and when you're not sure of the answer and you're second guessing yourself, it's always good to get a second opinion.
Yeah, well said. I think in the skilling environment, we often talk about the fact that, you know, to have the right fit. Attitudinally, if the person is inclined towards a particular job, you can skill him or her. But if the person is not inclined, then you can do whatever, but that person will not sort of. So I think that's important. What would be your message to all these youngsters here who are competing very, very hard, working very hard, out of your own learnings or advice? I don't think they're brilliant people. I don't think any one of us are capable of advising them, but what would be the key message you'd like to communicate to them today?
Well, I guess along with the YCO and just life in general, you're at a really great age now. You're starting your careers. You have nothing to lose. Go and work with lots of fabulous people, learn as much as possible. Ask all of the daft questions now, because in 10 years' time, you'll have people your age looking at you, asking you the daft questions, and you'll understand why. So don't be afraid. You know, you've got so many different things. Like Gary said, it's a global industry. You can go to so many places, learn from so many people. Just go out and do it all. There's nothing stopping you except yourself if you don't believe you can do it. But you can. You've made it here, so you know.
Yeah.
You're on this.
Absolutely, could agree with you, Gary.
My advice is going to be for this week. You've covered the long term. This is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm speaking to competitors here, and this is going to be on your CV that's going to separate you from absolutely everybody in your country other than 9 other people. So yous have got a great opportunity here. My main advice is to enjoy every single moment, because in a blink of an eye, we're going to be in Calcutta celebrating the final, you know, and enjoy the people you're with, enjoy the time, get on those WhatsApp groups, because you're sitting beside people you're going to be in touch with for the rest of your life. And, you know, history shows that this competition has brought, you know, the world together, and that's exactly what this is all about. So get to know people, and you never know, you might end up somewhere else supporting someone that you met here. I'm pretty sure you will be. So enjoy this week. It can be tough, it can be long, but enjoy every moment, because in a blink of an eye, you're going to be back home remembering an amazing week. So enjoy.
Well said, Gary. I must share another personal experience at Tourism and Hospitality Skill Council. We do participate and represent India in terms of the World Skill Council. And here's a story about this young lad called Farooq, came from a very remote village in south of India, and he failed his 8th standard. He took a ride, hitchhiked his way to Bangalore, and was roaming around the streets, actually started talking to the doorman of one of our training centers. And the long and short of it is, they hired him as a dishwasher. This was about 7 years ago. Farooq did not know how to speak English. He did not know the local language. And over the period of time when he was working there, he developed his interest in patisserie. And the professor there saw that and started training him. Last year, Farooq, after clearing the regional round, the national round, represented India at the World Skill and won a medallion. So that's the type of, you know, when you say if you have the right. I asked Farooq, I said, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back home? Because he had not been home for 5 years. He had run away because he had failed and hitchhiked his way. I said, are you going to go back and show this to your parents? He says, well, I may, but they would not understand. So can you give me a video of what all happened and I take it? But look at the pride in the person and the way he's come up. So huge scope, huge opportunities. I know I'm taking a bit of time and deviating. 32 years ago, I started my career by selling matchboxes on the streets of Mumbai. Moved into banking, moved into hospitality, and now run this institute which has 600 training centers. The reason I'm saying that in hospitality, you can start at the bottom of the ladder and sky's the limit. So good luck to all of you, and good luck, Gary and Sarah. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Rajan, Sarah, and Gary. Could you just please remain on stage, please? Yeah. So we have a small gift to give you in thanks for contributing to our seminar. Thanks. So we're going to move on. I'm going to invite Aditya Udaani to the stage, please. Aditya is the Managing Director of Udaan Management. Welcome. Round of applause, please.
First of all, a very good afternoon to all the distinguished guests out here and all the faculty members. It's truly an honor to speak here. I would like to cut it very short because I myself I'm still there, in this world of aura of this YCO. But coming down to what I'm here for or what we do, basically. So I run a very small company called Udaan Management Academy, which is into providing training and support facilities to students in hospitality. And I also happen to be an ex-alumni of this esteemed institution. I was a pass out way back in 2007. So coming down the years, I always felt there are a lot of institutions in the world which can teach you hospitality, but there's very few institutions in this world which can actually make you self-sufficient in hospitality. This YCO, the stage which all of you are here, or all of you are there for, it is one of the biggest platforms where you get to learn the cultures, you let out. I would take reference from my last speakers where they said that, this is what sets you apart. It actually truly does what sets you apart. And that is what even us as a company, Udaan Management Academy, that we do, is we run cultural exchange programs wherein we give students an opportunity to go to a country and get the training or get the adventure of the country where you are looking forward to have the cultural experience with the food, with the wines, with everything related to hospitality. So that is what we do in very short. And obviously doing that, YCO is one of the biggest stage where we can be a part of it, because it is the stage which makes you better than the best. And as a very dear friend of mine, John, who always says it, it's Ogie, Ogie, Ogie all the time. Thank you. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. So we now have another couple of videos. I'd like to acknowledge the contributions of ITC and Nove Hotel for their fabulous support of the YCO. We run the VT, please.
Jagadom, नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दिनुते गिरिवरविन्द्यशिरोदिनि वासिनि विष्णुविलासिनि जिष्णुनुते पदमतिते क्षितिकण्ठकुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते सुरवरवर्षिणि दुर्धरदर्शिनि दुर्मुखमर्षिणि हर्षरते त्रिभुवनपोषिणि शङ्करदोषिनि किल्बिषमोषिनि घोषरते तनुजनिरोषिनि दितिसुतरोषिनि दुर्मदशोषिनि सिन्धुसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते 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 तदगुदिगु जगदों तजगदों तदगुदिगु जगदों तगिटदों तगदगिटदों दुर्गुदगिटदिनिगिटदों जगदों तदगुदिगु जगदों तजगदों तदगुदिगु जगदों तगिटदों तगदगिटदों दुर्गुदगिटदिनिगिटदों जगदों तदिं जगदों तदिं जगदों तदिं जगदों तदि तगदिं तगणं तगमनरिदों तदों तनतदिं तदिं जनु तदिं तदिं
Yeah, thank you, thank you. We'll be experiencing some ITC and Novotel hospitality this week, some famous Indian hospitality, so we can all look forward to that. So a round of applause again for ITC and Novotel. Thank you. So we're on to our next panel. So if I could invite Professor David Foskett back to the stage, please, and also Chef Cyrus Todiwala and Chef Mario Perera, please. Thank you. So while they're making their way up to the stage, I'll just give you a bit of background. So Mr. Cyrus Todiwala, excuse me. Cyrus is renowned for his innovative approach to cuisine and has become a highly recognized celebrity chef with regular TV and radio appearances. Cyrus trained through the Taj Group, rising to executive chef before making his way to the UK in 1991, where he opened the iconic Cafe Spice Namaste in 1995. His culinary impact extends to launching a range of condiments, various books, and the esteemed Mr. Todiwala's Kitchen. Cyrus's contributions to the hospitality industry are widespread, including an OBE and the honour of Deputy Lieutenant of Greater London. Welcome, Cyrus. And Chef Mario Perera. So Mario, originally from Sri Lanka, began his culinary journey at the Taj Samudra in Colombo. After moving to London in 1995, he held various roles as a chef at the iconic Dorchester Hotel and Four Seasons Park Lane, both in London. Mario is currently executive chef at the Dorchester, leading a team of over 100 chefs across multiple kitchens and managing various dining outlets and events. Welcome, Mario. And we've already welcomed Professor Foskett, so we all know Professor Foskett very well. So the title of this panel is Organisational Culture and How We Need to Work Differently. Over to you, Professor Foskett.
Right, good afternoon again, and I'm very honoured to be here with the esteemed judges, Cyrus I've known, and Mario for many years, and I'm delighted to be with them. About a year ago, I was talking to a well-known chef who happened to be an ex-student of mine. His name is Chris Galvin, and he was talking about the future and young people, and he said we're going to have to change because young people expect things differently today, working in the 21st century. And he said I was addressing the esteemed Academy of Culinary Arts, Royal Academy of Culinary Arts, and he said to them, we need to change, and they said, yeah, we will change in the future. He said, no, you must change now. If you're going to survive, you need to change now. Because young people look at the world differently. They want their time off. They look at other industries. And if we're going to be attractive and attract talent, we need to change because we have to compete with so many industries. And there's a great deal of talent out there, and there's a great deal of young talent in this room now. And cultural organisation is about the values, about how you work together with people, how you move with the times, and how you really do value people in your organisation. And I remember a famous quote from a Japanese entrepreneur who said that your employees are also your customers of the future. Because we all consume something, and we need to understand people in our organisation. So I'm going to ask Cyrus, who's a great one on this, your experience about how we need to move forward in the future. Cyrus.
Tough question, Professor. But actually speaking, we are, in a sense, sometimes stagnating. And some of us are quite rigid to change. And change is coming very rapidly because as we all discuss it, I mean, we've been involved together in discussing this over 25 years now.
Yeah.
And the question is that younger people see things differently, like you said, but also at the same time, their wants are different.
Yes.
Our wants were different. Their wants are completely different. And I think if once you understand those wants and you feel that you have to analyze very rapidly in your mind how much of that want you are able to let go and allow them to grow within that want. At the same time, I think we have to constantly keep on inspiring them because what they don't have is patience.
Yes.
They don't have the patience. What we did not have is the breadth and the width of the growth of hospitality industry that exists now that they have today. So when we, for example, when I started my career in India, we only aimed for 2 hotel groups, the Oberois and the Taj. And later came the ITC group, and later came the other groups, and then the Leela and everything else started growing. So your aspirations were limited, and you wanted to make it successful. Today they have the whole world as their platform, and they can move from place to place. So unless you are able to harness them and to understand them, you're going to lose them. And one of the things that is lost to the industry today is young people, 70%, maybe 60%, leaving our industry and walking away because the industry is not wanting to change the way they want the industry to change for them.
Yeah.
And I think this is very important. So, fortunately for us, in my business, I have people who don't want to move from us. I've got staff who have been with me for 31 years now. But there are younger people who you have to encourage them to move on, because they need more knowledge, they need to gain more experience, and they need to grow into entrepreneurs or directors or hoteliers of themselves or whatever. So I think there's a change coming, and we all have to embrace that. And we do that from running our competitions and running various things and what you see today in the world. And I think I'm old-timer in a sense, but I do understand how young people work. And I've got a few young people at the moment, and their thinking is completely different. And if I don't adjust, I lose them.
Yes, yes, indeed. I think what really brought this home to me recently was not in the hospitality profession, but in the medical profession. We have a serious problem in the UK, particularly England at the moment, where young doctors go on strike because not only do they want better pay, they want better conditions. Now, I can tell you that 10 years ago, young doctors would never go on strike. Never. Because my son 10 years ago was a young doctor, and he said to me, I don't believe they're going on strike. And I said, because they see the world differently, yeah? So if the medical profession has that problem, we certainly have a problem.
Yes.
We do. So I'm going to ask Mario now, because I worked at the Dorchester many, many years ago, and we worked long hours, we enjoyed it, but how he sees it now running the kitchens, which is very different to when I was there over 40 years ago. Mario.
40 years ago, I think I've been in the company almost 23 years now. I think I actually studied under him, and I worked with some great chefs. When you were a commie, answer was yes all the time. And never you can turn around and say no to chef. But now to see all these youngsters coming, growing with us, one of the key things that we as chefs, what we have to understand, we have to listen to what they want to say. And also for us to adapt and have that flexibility work together. They don't like, the young generation don't like to be told. They like to work together, and they want to be a part of whatever we do, rather than just put it on a side to whatever they do. And for us, in an industry like us, especially in London, I think it's quite important to work with these youngsters, because that's the future. It's very important to embrace them and mentor them and train them and attract the profession for them to do well in future. Is a very key thing. And to understand what their needs, what they want to achieve, and try and help them. Also, you have to think on the other side, we are also running a business. Hospitality and food is a very demanding and can be a very stressful environment. But they need to understand that part as well. But also we should have a good balance of work and their life, whatever they do outside. So it's important for us to understand what they want, and we follow their certain things, what they do. Yeah.
I think it's also about a partnership. We're running businesses. It's about a partnership. If we understand you, the young people, you also have to understand us as well. And I think this is very much a partnership of working together, of understanding what you want, but understanding what we want as employers. That's the key thing, because we can offer you, as employers, can offer you a great future, but also they have to be able to earn that future. Yeah? Yeah.
One of the things that one has to understand, when we were training and we were aspiring, compassion was something that was unheard of.
Yeah.
I think today the word compassion plays a vital role. Number two is most of the restaurants in UK today are now adapting and closing maybe 2 days a week.
Yes.
Some closing longer, and giving their staff the opportunity to work maybe just 40 hours a week and sometimes less. And I think this all comes out of learning. The fact that we work with so many young people today, I mean, and from across the board, you know, when I talk to colleges and students, etc., the one thing is when a young person comes and asks me, how do I do that? I say, how would you do that first? I think I learn a lot from them because their mind tweaks differently.
Yeah.
The creativity that flows sometimes is unbelievable. And we could stem that. The most important thing is not to stem that and to allow that to flow and then correct where you know that they're definitely going to make a mistake. So these are things that I'm learning all the time now. And that way you try and get more out of them. The output is better, the productivity improves, and the relationship between boss and employee gets better.
Yeah.
It's a very valid point. You know, even for example, when you're writing menus, I think it's nice to get them involved. And you know, me personally, what I do is actually I take all the youngsters we take to the suppliers, take to the meat markets, and do all that knowledgeability, whatever we can give them, and they understand the product. And when you're writing a menu or doing something together, we ask questions from them rather than you decide and say, this is what you're going to do. So sometimes, you know, it's like I use this little exercise. You know, your 5 fingers, they're all different sizes, different shape. To have a good grip, you need to have all 5 of them. So exactly that technique works to as a team. When you're a leader, if you have these great guys with different mentality or different talent, different resources, get them used and get the best out of them. It's good to get the best out of them, and also we'll get the best out of from us as well. So that's me.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. I think that all employees want to be valued, whoever they are. They want to be valued. They want to be respected. And all of you here today and this week, we value you. We value your contribution to the YCO. We value you coming from different parts of the world, and we thank you for that. I think employers have to learn to sometimes to value their employees more. As the Japanese say, employees are also our customers.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right.
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot to learn. As I keep saying, there's a lot to learn from one another. There's a lot to learn from each organization, of the good things, the strengths, the weaknesses. But if we don't change, we won't grow, and it will threaten our businesses in the future. And that's my contribution to say to you, we have to change, because to change is to grow. And I come back to Chris Galvin, who I've got a lot of time for. He said to the Royal Academy, you must change now. Don't leave it to next year. You must, and he is changing his organization, his restaurants, to accommodate the new era. We call it the post-COVID era. Yeah? And outside of hospitality, there are many organizations who are trying to get back to the pre-COVID era, because a lot of people now, they want to work from home. In hospitality, you can't work from home. Yeah? And it's how to accommodate the post-COVID era.
It's become quite a thing now. I mean,
yeah.
And that's affecting hospitality.
Yeah.
Because in the city of London, for example, with more people working from home,
yes,
businesses are shutting down because they cannot operate on a 3-day week.
Yeah.
Restaurants can't afford to pay for their bills and their taxes and everything else. So again, the industry has to evolve. And here comes the street food business evolving.
Yeah.
There are people who can operate on 3 days a week businesses. And it's also, again, a change is coming in. So traditional businesses also have to adapt to that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We live in a very different world, and we have to adapt to it.
We have to adapt to it.
If we're going to grow, then we have to change.
Yeah. True. Well, thank you. I think the other professor there is waiting for us to leave stage.
Okay.
I've got to try and keep you on time, gentlemen.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for a fascinating conversation. Please remain on stage. A small gift of our gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yep. Yeah, that's what we thought. Thank you. Amrita? Professor, you're wanted back.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You're too fast. Yeah, he always was too fast.
Yeah.
I've never known him to walk slow.
Well done, well done. Yeah. Well, won't be any issue, I can tell you.
Which leads us nicely on to our fourth and final panel for the day. So could I please invite to the stage Chef Paul Jervis. Are you here, Paul? Chef ZamZani and Diwan Gautam Anand, please. Because you asked me to before. Please, where you would like to. Hello, ZamZani. Nice to meet you. So just while they're making their way up to the stage, I'll give a brief introduction. So Diwan Gautam Anand. Gautam, as he has requested me to address him, is the president of the IIHM International College of Distinguished Fellows and the former executive vice president of ITC Hotels with extensive experience across the hospitality industry. Attaining a general management diploma from Cornell University, Gautam has held several leadership positions contributing to successful openings and brand creations throughout the industry. Thank you, Gautam. Chef ZamZani. So Chef Zam is a Malaysian celebrity chef who has made a huge impact on television and the culinary industry. Zam started honing his career skills at the tender age of 7 and went on to complete a chef's diploma from UITM Mara in 1993. He continued his education in hotel and restaurant management in the USA before going on to complete a master's degree in hospitality management at the University of West London, where he was awarded a visiting professor status in 2011. Zam is currently the managing director at Silver Spoon International College and is the co-founder of the Food Aid Foundation. Welcome, Chef Zam. And on to Chef Paul Jervis. Paul, after completing his training at Westminster Kingsway College in London, Paul captained the England junior team at the Culinary Olympics in Erfurt, Germany, winning a bronze medal. Paul's career path was with Sodexo and Elior Contract Services, working his way through the ranks to head chef at Fidelity Investments, catering for over 1,500 customers each day. Paul enjoyed his training and education days so much that he realised an ambition to become a lecturer at Westminster Kingsway College in 2008, working his way up to his current position as head of school. So the topic of your conversation is a strategy for our future recruitment and career development. And this will be hosted by, moderated by you, Gautam, if that's okay. Over to you. Thank you.
Since we've been given the gift of time, thank you for the gift of time, Neil.
Well, about 15 minutes, if that's enough.
Exactly my point. Okay, so we seem to be more unified during the COVID era, and we seem to have polarized in the post-COVID era with all the, But there is one thing that has unified us, and there seems to be some concern, and I call it what Neil has just given us is the gift of time. So I'm going to address this to Chef Zami. Is that fine? All right? Okay. Not because I'm discriminating, but your name was more challenging, and I wanted to make sure that I don't do any indiscretions. So the gift of time. So randomly asking people in the universe of hospitality, and it doesn't matter which field they come from, and they seem to feel stifled and misused, because they are being paid for experience, which means that a structured shift, at least in my country, is 8 to 9 hours. But they actually work for 12 to 14 hours. So my analogy is that if I am being paid for 9 hours, shouldn't I be recognized for the 12 hours of practice? So officially, my shift of 9 hours, okay, is experience. My shift, my working shift of 9 hours is my experience, but my practice is 3 additional hours. So their peeve is that why are you not paying us for practice? You have any views on that?
Well, I'm going to answer your question based on what we are currently practicing in Malaysia. Well, back in the olden days, hello everybody. Hi. Make it a bit more lively, shall we not? Okay, basing on what we are currently practicing in Malaysia, back in the olden days, of course, like the gentleman was saying just now, that you are only getting paid for maybe 8 or 9 hours.
The official roster.
Correct.
8 or 9 hours.
Correct,
Yeah.
but you expected to put on more above and beyond that. And well, in Malaysia,
my view, therefore, is it compensation? What compensation do young people get for those additional 3 hours that they seem to be doing, even though officially the recognition is that it's 9 hours?
Well, if you were to ask me, the compensation, the only compensation that what is it? Okay, the only compensation that I can think of is the experience and the additional skills that you acquire while doing those additional hours without getting paid. I don't know if you agree with me. But of course, as I said just now, based on what we were doing back in the olden days, this is exactly what's happening. But right now, Malaysian government has kind of like came out with a new law whereby everybody across the board, all industries, are only required to work a maximum of 45 hours a week. Right. Above and beyond that, they are required to pay overtime.
Excellent.
That's what we're doing in Malaysia right now.
That seems to be settling the unsettled.
Right. But of course, there are employers who knows how to get around things, don't they? Yeah. They know how to get around things, maybe by giving maybe an additional day off instead of paying. But of course, there are many employers who are willing and able to pay. Not everybody is happy though. Not everybody is happy, but if you were to ask me, they pay me only maybe 7-8 hours a week, and I have to put in more hours. The only compensation that I can think of right now is the experience and also the skills additional that you could put in your resume to get a better job, better pay in the near future.
So therefore, there is an analogy of experience and practice.
Of course.
So do you recognize that I have 12 hours of practice, whereas my official experience is 9 hours?
Yes.
Thank you.
If I were the employee, I would compensate you in the bonuses, the yearly bonuses and increment.
You are a star.
I am.
All right. Paul, the glass ceiling. So what used to happen is that when I was younger, and believe you me, I was younger, and I used to, at that time, my parent company was associated with Sheraton, and which got bought over and so on and so forth. And I was sent to Chef Zami's part of the world to apprentice. And for some reason, every single general manager was a chef, right? And I wasn't a chef, so I was quite depressed. And I was wondering how I would become a general manager since every other general manager is a chef. Now, there seems to be a reversal of trends. The trends here in India is that the chefs don't make general managers, you know. And they're now saying that if I can't make a general manager, then why should I hang in? I'd rather go and work for some alternative, company like, or do some other skills, or empower myself in some other field so that I can actually break the glass ceiling. And I find a similar amount of concern being expressed by women to say that we are not able to cross the glass ceiling. Is there a glass ceiling for chefs in your part of the world or universally? And since you are widely traveled and extremely accomplished, and you have a name like Paul, I'm sure you have opinions on this.
There has to be a glass ceiling because there is still there's still not an absolute balance on the seesaw of things. The glass ceiling has become a lot thinner, I would suggest, so it's not impenetrable anymore, but it's still a challenge. Thankfully, we're seeing far more women come into the industry, and what we're doing is able to understand what they can bring because they have very different skill sets. Sure. But yeah, absolutely. And businesses have to recognise that if they are going to put a barrier in the way, there's another business out there which has not got that barrier, and they're going to lose their staff. So.
Absolutely. So the question is, there is a future for Pauline as well, not just for Paul. Is that what you're saying?
Well, why not?
Absolutely. All right. Okay. Now, I have a... sorry. I'm also trying to make it...
I'm not going to be the Pauline, no. So.
All right. Oh, by the way, just for your information, I did make it to be a general manager, although I wasn't a chef. All right. So I obviously broke the glass ceiling. No, I went even higher. So that, of course, is... All right. Okay. Now, you know, there is this whole thing. I meet a lot of young people, and they all seem to have peeves. Okay. Why do I meet people with peeves? I really don't know. But now they're peeves. They're upset. They're concerned. They're frazzled. Because Apicius, who was the world's first celebrity chef, you know that? Did you know Apicius? I'm sure he was related to you. Okay. So in the Roman Empire, Apicius was the world's first celebrity chef. But then you have Paul and you have Chef Sammy. Now the young people are saying is that why should I waste my time in the hot range, all right, Mrs. Bose? Why should I waste my time in the Garde Marche? Why shouldn't I be on television or on social media? But you know, there are corporate governance issues. In structured companies like the one I work for, they expect you to have no opinion, never seen and never heard. All right, and yet there are chefs like you and Chef Paul who are always on national television, right? So is there an issue? Is there a corporate governance issue? Is it frustrating young people? Is it motivating? How do we motivate these people? Now I'll give you an example. Gucci, okay, believes in the brand, right? They don't believe in their designer, all right? But there are some chefs who become brands by themselves. So should corporate entities allow a certain amount of leeway to young people to build themselves as brands?
Well, for me, why not? I mean, the sky is the limit. If you could push or allow your employee, especially the young ones who have got the gifts of the gap, to shine and perhaps bring along your brand, your company with him or her, to me, by all means, go ahead. But as for me, I had it the easier way because a lot of celebrity chefs, they would go for an audition for a TV show. They would go for, I don't know, nowadays everybody could be a celebrity chef nowadays with the social media and so on. But back in my days, a lot of those people that I knew who are celebrity chefs nowadays, whether or not they have got big names or just, barely make it, they went for auditions, but I didn't, because for me, I attended a tea party at a friend's house one day, and I met some people, and maybe then after that, then a month later, I got a call, and she said, "Oh, I'm producing this new TV show. And would you be interested to be a part of it?" I said, "Well, why not?" And the rest is just history. I had it the easiest way, and I'm very fortunate that I have been able to work with a lot of international brand names. For example, Philips. I was with Philips Kitchen Appliances for 6-7 years. Right now I am with Bosch. I was with Harvey Norman, with Heinz, Cola Vita olive oil, Barilla
So you
pasta.
agree with the principle that we should
Yeah, you know what? When I started becoming a celebrity chef, I was still working and teaching at one of the premier colleges in Malaysia. That in itself helped to promote the college.
Okay, so unfortunately, the gift of time is no longer in our purview. It's in the. Neil is glaringly looking at me.
Did he only ask you one question,
in spite of the fact that I've given him such a lot of gins, notwithstanding that. Okay, so last question.
Not
then,
enough.
Quick one for Paul. Paul, I don't know what your opinion on this business of celebrity chefs is. Would corporate entities like that, or you believe that celebrity chefs should, make their own path, go elsewhere, do their own thing, and they're not a part of the governing council?
And I think it's important to recognise not every young person wants to be a celebrity chef in the sense of their whole life is open, but certainly we've got to recognise that this social media is a massive part of what we do. Me at the college, our students have all got social media accounts, and we encourage them to promote
give them
themselves.
the freedom to act, right?
But there has to be that level of responsibility.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
guidelines, yes, but lockdown, no.
Fair enough. All right. But there's a quick question for you as well. And do you believe in employee stock options? Should the chefs, because one of the ways of retaining your talent is to give them some employee stock options or give them incentives. Let them be a part of the success story. There seems to be people who work for JP Morgan who take away all the money, and yet the market traders don't make enough money, and then there's a crisis there. You know that. In the hotel business, let's say in the corporate entities like myself, the top 10 people get employee stock options, but everybody else just has to fend for themselves. You think there should be a university of stock options right through the chain? Is that going to work for entities like, say, like your college, or even for institutions like I work for? You have an opinion on that?
I think it's very much dependent upon the individual business, because ultimately a business has to be successful in its own right. If that works, that you can have a stock option, then that's great for the business. But equally, if you offer it to the whole of the community of people, then it can make controlling that business more hard. So it's understanding your size and your needs.
Fair enough. So I think so. Meritocracy does play a role there. Absolutely, meritocracy. Okay. On that very, very happy note, and since we've lost our time, I have a small, absolutely. I have a designer tie. Sorry, that's inexcusable. All right. On that very unhappy note, or happy note, I have now learned to quote from ancient Indian sayings. Okay. Because I've had enough of ancient Chinese sayings, and no slur intended. All right. No, that's all right. I'm just excusing myself, Professor. Okay. So it says, okay. Now, I use the word service in the most generic sense because we're all in the business of service. All right. So it says, let service be your first medicine or probiotic. I think probiotic is more fashionable. I think. Let service be your first probiotic, and let hospitality be your first pharmacy. Or shall we say, let IIHM be your first pharmacy. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for a very entertaining and insightful last panel discussion. It's very amusing, but with some very serious points raised as well. So thank you to our panel, Gautam, Chef Zam, and Paul Jervis. Thank you. Round of applause, please.
Thank you, likewise.
So thank you everyone for your patience and joining us for this conference this afternoon. That brings us to a close of this section of the day, and we're now on to the very, very exciting stuff. We have the official opening, and for this I am going to invite the CEO of IIHM, Abdullah, to come to the stage, and I'll hand over the baton to Abdullah. But
yes, thank you, Neil, and thank you so much, and I think that's the baton. Thank you, Neil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we still have time. Don't worry, the official inauguration of the opening ceremony is at 4:45. We've got 45 minutes with us, and what we're going to do now is that there is a short 15-minute breather for all of you. So all the contestants and mentors, should you wish to take a short breather of 15 minutes, you can. 4:15, we'll all assemble back here, because we'll do a short briefing on the march that we're going to do. Just a small update, this time the marching that we're doing in the hall is from that particular door. We're going to enter, all of you are going to come one by one on top of the
My mom's name is Vibha, and I get a lot of my work ethic and from her, so it was an ode to her. So Vibha became Viba.
Most wonderful stories start with a dream, and every big dream has a small beginning.
Why can't Tasty be healthier than what is available?
A beginning as small as how?
How can we make food tastier? How can we eat healthier? How can we make making food simpler? How can we make tastier food more creative? How do we bring global cuisine to India?
While every dream begins with a how, it's the who that matters. Who believes in your dream? Who pushes you to make your dream bigger, bolder, brighter?
Dear consumers, you are the inspiration behind Viba and the reason we strive for excellence every single day. You are the reason we get up in the morning and try and make the best sauces the world has ever seen.
This wouldn't have been possible without the belief and passion of hundreds of our very own.
Our first break was given to us by Domino's Pizza. I think I had to beg, plead, but they were eventually very, very kind to us.
We started with about 20 employees. Today, we are about 2,000 and growing. And what is Viba today? Passion is innovation. At Viba, it is always about how do we make food more interesting and appetizing without compromising on quality. Invest a lot in designing and developing recipes, sourcing authentic ingredients from different parts of the world, and ensuring that what goes into our packs is the best that we can give our customers. 10 years of quality, 10 years of innovation, 10 years of taste.
We are 10 and we are just getting started.
10 years of Viba.